to another episode of It Crept from Eternia. Woo! We're here, finally. And boy, we have an episode. This one's going to be the one where we get so many thumbs down and tons of comments coming in with their opinion. It's going to be great.
Can't wait.
Bring it.
We have a lot to talk about. A lot has been going on in the world of Masters of the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the biggest thing is the new animated television show that is finally on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Masters of the Universe Revelation, Part 1. 5 episodes of pure heat.
Heat.
That's right. And then the toys, the toys came out, which I do now have all that first wave of the Revelation toys. Relatively very easy to get, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen them in the wild. I got mine online, but
Except for He-Man.
they're out.
Well, I got them. It was very odd. Like I went to, I saw somebody post online like, "Hey, the Revelation stuff is out. They're showing up in Walmarts." And I was like, "All right." So I went to one of our Walmarts and they didn't have it.
Yeah.
And then I went to the other one, which usually doesn't have anything, and they had a whole display. So I walked through, and there were two dudes,
that look like us.
that looked well,
But
they were probably, I don't know if they were older, but they looked older.
Yeah, right.
Like me?
But they were in front of it, like with their phones and everything. And I was just like, doop,
Yep.
doop, doop. And I just took all the Wave 1 figures. And the guy's like, "You like Masters of the Universe?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I literally bought all these, dude.
I'm more of a My Little Pony fan, but I'm getting these for my kid.
Burn them. I hate women.
It was funny. I went to Target for Origins hunting, and they had Sky Sled on deep discount, so I got another one. I'm walking around with it, and then I noticed the Revelation figures are there, and I'm just looking at them, and some sweaty just comes up and snipes them, which I'm like, I'm fine, take them. I got, I didn't say anything to them because I'm like, go. I got them coming anyhow, but it's just like when they reach in front of you and grab them, it's my favorite because there's just like no shame because I do the same thing. So
Yeah. So what do you want to get into?
So I mean, I guess like we got a cinematographer going on. I guess our thoughts on the show.
Okay.
Each one of us should go through and talk about our feelings of this animated epic
masterpiece.
And let me just say this.
Yeah.
You guys out there who stumble upon this, and you are, obviously you're watching this particular episode because it's a Masters of the Universe show. You can have your opinions. That's fine. We are not here to tell you you're wrong or right. We are here to tell you our.
Well, let me premise that a little bit. Is that? Well, I'll talk about it later. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Listen. I don't want to start a fight with anybody.
Me neither.
When we get heated about Star Wars and shit like that, again, like I'm not here to tell these two that their joy is wrong. It just is different for me. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not going to change their mind, and they're not going to change my mind. And that's how it is with any like pop culture shit out there.
Fandom, period. Even if it's sports. I mean,
so I know probably someone's going to come along and try to change our mind, but it ain't going to work.
Not ours.
These are our thoughts, our opinions, our impressions of Masters of the Universe Revelation. So let's let Chris talk about his thoughts on this show.
I'm going to start at the very beginning. That
When you were born.
when I first opened my eyes and the power sword was laid into my palm. No, when you start this show, you are thrust into this intro that I never expected. Period. It was very vintage oriented. They were just throwing in all that old artwork. That one with like Skeletor with Evelyn laying across the floor cracked me up. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that they started the show off with gave you that they're going all in like the vintage, the old show, and this is where we are. It doesn't matter what lore came after. Doesn't matter what you watched in the 2000s, even though I know they borrowed some stuff from that as well. But let's remember that this is an extension of the original show to begin with. For me, it hit everything. It was the humor was there from the show, like the stupid ass humor that you always rolled your eyes at was prevalent through like every episode. I think some of my favorite things about this show was when they would start the show with a flashback to an event from the old times or whatever. It may have been a fake episode or whatever, but I like the intertwining of the old show with the new narrative a lot too. So some other highlights for me were just the voice cast. I just thought that everybody delivered their role perfectly. Where the status quo for a lot of characters, they did a great job with. I think one of my favorite things is just the technology side of things, because we look at this huge world of like sci-fi myth and technology mixed together. It's such a cool thing. But then you have like Triclops, who's totally taken charge of Snake Mountain, and he has like a techno union basically, and it's just like, we hate magic, and it's a really cool like step for that character to take, because no Skeletor, no Snake Man, no nothing. So who's gonna fill this void? And I thought that was really smart, because as magic is dwindling in the land, here we have another faction trying to take power. So a lot of really neat things when they delivered it. My favorite is Tila. I'm sorry, Tila's always been my favorite character, and I always thought, since the beginning, it was always something that they implied that she was meant for greater things, and I thought that she was a strong character, and that it was very kind of forward thought moving for women characters in the 80s to have a strong character like her. So I have to premise everything that we're going to talk about. I guess I don't want to talk about the negative stuff as much, but I will say this. Everything I hear on the negative side makes me think that these people have never watched He-Man before, nor do they even know what they're talking about. So I like to sit back and be like, I'm starting to think that a lot of this fandom assassination stuff is like, it's all fake.
I'll say that I think that there's people out there who are deliberately doing it.
Yes.
They're not doing it because they have one side or the other. They're just like, they like to start shit.
Yes.
And that seems very obvious by some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's for clicks. It's for clicks. It is 100% because it grows their channel. Because there's a lot of hate out there, and people love to hate.
Right? I made a point just to like thumbs down as much as I could through YouTube, because it was just like these stupid videos.
You can't do that, man. You can't do that.
That gives into their clicks too.
It totally helps their algorithm.
Gives their clicks.
Yeah.
Even if it's a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Because all YouTube sees is the interaction of the channel.
Son of a bitch.
So that's why we say when we get our thumbs down, I'm always like, "Hey, man, thumbs down," because you're helping people. You're helping people see our channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a traffic suck. Okay, I got it. All right, I'll just ignore it from now on. And
so I just don't even do it at all. And I certainly don't comment, because that's not going to help anything.
Oh no, I wouldn't watch. I would just see the title and I'd go in and thumbs down it immediately. Or I'd skim it. I'd skim it and make sure that actually the message was negative and shitty, and then I would thumbs down it. But you're right. I'm stopping right now. No more. Don't feed the beast.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, there's certain things from what you just said we will touch on, but I just want to get everyone's overall opinion of the show. So overall, 100%, what are you're like,
Oh, I watched it 3 times already. I watched it last night.
Me too.
I watched it the first time one sitting. The second time I watched it nightly, so it was like episodic, and then I watched it last time again as a whole, and it just works so well as the MOTU movie that we deserved. So if you want to put all these together in like 2.5 hours, it works really well, and it's such a really good narrative. I give it like a 9.5 out of 10. I could nitpick some things, but I'm not going to, because it was great, and it was just.
I'm going to.
It's great. No, yeah, and I will definitely critique with you, but I had a great time. I don't think anything is perfect these days, because sometimes, I mean, no matter what, we'll find something. But I loved it.
Okay. All right. Casey Bowker.
It was good.
Get off the show.
Because I haven't been on this. Have I been on this show yet?
You did.
I did.
One episode.
Okay.
Last episode.
You're right. Sorry, you were here. Anyway, I've been slowly getting back into He-Man nostalgia with the Origins line, knowing that this show and the next, whatever the other one is going to be, I can't remember what it's called.
It's just He-Man and the Master.
It's just He-Man and the Master of the Universe. So, but as a longtime Kevin Smith fan, obviously the voice cast, everything, I knew I was going to be interested, at least to say, let me check this out. And we watched it over 2 days, I think. And I absolutely loved it. And I did feel the nostalgia of like, okay, because, and I know we're going to talk about it with the negativity from people. Do you remember really what you watched in the 80s? Like, unless you watched it again recently, which most of these people have never done, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll say that they do. There's people, and again, this is you, and that's fine if you're one of those people, but there are plenty of MOTU fans who truly love that cartoon.
Right.
And they still watch it, and
right.
They think that it's good. You know what I mean? Whereas as a kid, I fucking love the show. Yeah. I loved it. There's a reason why I own it now, and that is for pure nostalgia. There's a reason why I watch it now. Pure nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
As a 44-year-old man, I know that it is terrible. The cartoon of yore is terrible.
Sans a few episodes. There are some solid golden episodes, like the well-written ones. 5 of them.
And it's all because of that particular writer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they were given a job to tell a basic story to sell toys.
Yep.
That's what they were trying to do. And then there were some, just like with real Ghostbusters and say Thundercats.
Thundercats is what I
There were writers who were trying to do a little more than
yeah.
what they were given, you know, and that's great stuff. And that's the stuff. But even at a rudimentary, level, it's still for children. And they were trying to elevate that material
mm-hmm.
the best that they could with what they were given. You know what I mean? And that's why, to me personally, I think She-Ra was the better written show. But my love of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon is based purely on nostalgia. I put on an episode at night because it's just a smile. That's all it is. Like, my wife is next to me and she's just laughing at this shit. But it's because it was made for 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old kids.
Yeah.
But there's fans who just, no, this was great mythic storytelling. And whatever. And so they're coming at it as like, how can they break the chains from this to this? And that's their opinion, and that sucks for them, because I get it, man. Do I think it's silly? Of course, but I'm not going to say fuck you to those people for having those feelings because I get it. On a different level, say with Star Wars or whatever property, if it kind of is a bummer of expectations, I totally get from that standpoint, like, fuck, they kind of suck, man, you know?
I was actually it was surprising to me that they're comparing the fandom of Star Wars with MOTU, and they're like, oh, it's the next big issue in fandom, and there's a big war. I'm just like, I know MOTU fandom's big, but it's definitely not Star Wars fandom big. So
nothing is Star Wars fandom.
No, and I'm just like, this is the thing about like breaking up pop culture. You know, it's just like, hey, if something's bad in pop culture, everybody's mad, but it's not that big of a. Just the scale to me is so different.
It's just going to hit people a different way. Casey, how did it hit you as an adult?
As an adult
who still loves kid stuff.
For sure.
Right?
Of course. Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I don't have as fond of memories. So I have fond memories of, Masters of the Universe and He-Man. I guess I talked about in the last episode, but it's been 30 years since I've had those memories. So I remember the 2000 one a little bit, but it was more like, okay, I'm just going in this with zero expectations. You know what I mean? Because even though I do like Kevin Smith, there's some things that Kevin Smith does that just suck ass. And I was like, he could just, like, here's the thing. Like, we love Fright Night. Fright Night's like one of the greatest movies of all time. If they go and make a Fright Night sequel and it's not good, I still have Fright Night.
Yeah.
Still there. So all 1,000 episodes of Masters of the Universe from before, they're still there, guys. It doesn't matter. Never watch this one ever again. And like, that's the overall feeling. So sorry, I'm going down a hole.
I can get to I think it's like for somebody like that who loves everything Masters of the Universe and then came into this and didn't like it, I can see where they would be angry because, man, it's new Masters and they wanted to like it. And now they don't. And it sucks for them.
But it's okay. We'll put it in Star Wars terms because Star Wars is probably our favorite franchise of all time. So that when we saw 7 and 8 and 9, literally using the old guard, there's no other direct translation in pop culture history that does what Star Wars did, other than little Indiana Jones nuggets and stuff like that. If those movies are not good, I wouldn't say fuck Star Wars.
Yeah, some people.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't say, like, yeah, a lot of people hate Rian Johnson. And is Last Jedi one of my favorite movies? No, it isn't. But it never has diminished my love for the franchise.
And it didn't make me hate Rian Johnson.
It didn't make me hate. No, because then he goes and puts Knives Out, and everyone thinks he's the next coming of MAGA.
Before that, I mean, Looper is great.
Of course,
Looper is awesome.
But why would I hate on somebody for giving that was his interpretation?
Yeah. And this is Kevin Smith's or at least he's show running. You know what I mean? Like, the first episode for me was the weakest. It wasn't bad at all. I liked, like, when I saw them both, die, I was like, whoa, or, disappear, whatever. I was like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. And then episode 2 on, I was like, now this is where it's at. I really liked the story. I really liked the mythology that they decided to delve into. And, I like road trip adventure, fantasy. I mean, really, it's a fantasy. So for me, it checked a lot of boxes. The voice acting was great. I love Powerhouse Creative as an animation studio. I've liked everything that they've done so far.
Yeah.
And the music is good. I mean, it was just fun. And that's all I wanted it to be. And it gave me a little bit more with actually being more fantasy. Like, that made it even better for me. So probably 9 out of 10. Yeah.
I've been watching
4.
the 2000. Yeah, I'm watching the 2000 series rewatch, and this has actually been really a great time to watch it again because that does go into more lore than the original series does, touching on lore that this show is this new one is touching on, and getting into it, that last episode especially. So I think that we've gotten some really good stuff, in terms of storytelling over the years. And with there not being that much behind it for people to get that upset just because they didn't tell an exact story they wanted, is, as the usual reasons to get upset, I guess. But I don't get it. I would hope that, for me as a Masters fan, this was great. Even if it was a 7 or an 8, it would still have been great. So this content, I'm not sure why people want to just fight it. I just want people to because that's how we lose it, right? That's how we don't get the continuation of things. The studios start to be like, well, we don't want this
too much drama behind it.
Yeah, this uprising, and let's just drop it. And then we're all punished.
The angry fans are louder than the happy fans.
Right. 2 versus 100, they're still louder. It's like,
listen to the angry fans, which sucks. So that's the only bad thing out of it, because it changes the course of the creatives, which sucks. It really sucks. Because I frankly feel like, honestly, there's more love out there for it than there is hate, but they're louder.
Yep.
I do, man. I really do. I think there's more love than hate.
No. I think there's more love than hate. I think, though, from a viewership standpoint, love or hate, people watched it. From a toy standpoint, people are buying it, which is literally the reason why the series even exists, really. So that, and then you're going to talk about the comic, I would imagine, Chris, a little bit. The thing is with Netflix in general, and you and I have talked to Towel Talk so many times, it's like they're really shitty about being a multimedia corporation. It's like, you need toys, you need comics, you need books, you need mugs. You need to be Disney when it comes to these franchises, because that right there is what's going to make people go, oh man, apparently this is the greatest show ever. They've got, stickers and coloring books and everything else. And I feel like they don't double down enough on especially on nostalgia when they should. It's like Stranger Things is the one thing that they really were like, do Monopoly toys.
Well, that's because it hits so hard.
It did, for sure, but they could help themselves and get more of us like us into things if they really let's get stuff into their faces, these 40-year-olds who have the money now to buy the stuff.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think one of the biggest things to recognize here is this is owned by Mattel.
Correct.
When things are owned by Hasbro, like G.I. Joe and D&D and so forth, and you have this huge multimedia, or this huge multi-million-dollar corporation behind it making the toys. That's perfect. And if they can do this with MOTU, where it's Origins, Revelation, and then this new series is selling toys, they've got it. That's it. That's all they needed. But I guess these smaller independent properties, they really should just call Todd McFarlane, just give them a license and just let him make toys for them. So, that's just a general thing. But how does a smaller entity that isn't owned by say Mattel get ahead? So I hope that, I hope, as you said, the toy sales alone are enough to propel more MOTU stuff and keep it in the spotlight. Because
I want it to go away for another 20 years is the last one,
right?
I really don't think it will. I really don't. I think there's enough love for it that I think it's gonna stick around.
And new kids of kids who played with the toys, all of it.
Mattel, I think, are doubling down. I think they're we ain't going anywhere. I mean, and it's clear if you see some of their if you see some of the product that is coming down the line.
Well, where's my Wave 2?
Well,
pre-order.
That has nothing to do with Mattel.
No,
really. That is the companies who are not these the Walmarts and the Targets who aren't doing proper. They're not fucking doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I'm saying from a holy shit collector standpoint,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what they have coming down the line, it's like, holy shit, they are making everything. They are remaking everything. You know?
Yeah, I was not surprised by the pause in Origins announcements at this point. I know there's more, like a plethora of tidal wave of Origins coming, but they had to take a little pause to get the Revelation figures out.
And even with the Revelation, the waves that they have, it's like, oh wow, okay. So even after wave 2, they've hinted and shown, leaks. There's leaks of wave 3. It's like, okay, they are not stopping.
And they know with COVID and everything that with manufacturing, they need to be ahead of the game because everything has been slowed down. Exactly. Expect more and more expensive. So I think these big companies like Mattel, they need to. I mean, their sales during COVID were great. I mean, their stock went up, all this stuff. They've been like toys were very popular during like lockdown and stuff like that. So they're coming out of a very big year. And now they're going to push even harder now that they have this property. So I'm very, very excited to see what gets announced in the coming days.
All right, so
what do you want to talk on?
Here's my thoughts on the show. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think it's so good. I think it is the 100% right direction to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very smart what they did because the payoff is going to be great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The killing of He-Man and Skeletor and the resurrection in 2 is going to be a real big fan pop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, there's just, let's face it, there's just dumb fans out there. There are just people with low IQs.
Meatbags.
They don't understand real storytelling. They just don't. They see the surface and they're just like, what? They killed him! Like, and don't understand that, no, there's a story here that's happening. And of course, He-Man isn't dead. I mean, Mattel just rolled out a whole fucking, multi-million-dollar thing on Masters of the Universe. And then they're going to kill He-Man?
Well, to your point, Masters of the Universe.
But they didn't kill He-Man.
And they won't. But I'm just saying, like, that's one of the big arguments in the chat, right? Is it's not He-Man in Masters of the Universe. He was very smart in the way that it is Masters of the Universe. And these people are your masters.
Well, and
He-Man is just one.
It's more avenues of stories to tell.
For sure. There's spin-offs galore that they could do if we
outside
are lucky.
of He-Man.
Yes.
I was always more interested in the Masters anyhow, as a kid even. I mean, I don't care about the stupid names they came up with. The powers they had were pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, listen, there's far more there's characters that are far more interesting than He-Man is, and cool, and cool to explore. So whatever, I knew from the get-go that, He-Man, I knew he wasn't dead. This is classic storytelling, and it's this type of story has been told several times throughout different genres, different pop culture, different mythologies.
Humankind.
The hero has fallen and the hero will be resurrected to save the day, and within that story, I was like, man, this is great because you get to explore all these other characters and how this affects those characters, where the story is going to end up at episode 10. For me, is far more fascinating than where it ends up in episode 5. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a part of the tale. It's the puzzle piece that's going to tell this 10 episode arc.
That we hope is more than 10 episodes.
I personally would like that. And I'm hoping that the evil voices that are out there yelling and screaming, that it doesn't affect, heads of Netflix at all. And they're just like, again, there's far more joy coming out of this than there is whiny 45-year-olds.
Well, I think like Kevin Smith can take it.
Oh yeah.
He's been taken.
So I love the
That
show. I love the show. I did have some issues. And just in general, from the get-go, when it was announced, I was very confused as to why Kevin Smith was asked to be a part of this. I knew his sort of backstory with He-Man because of, if you were a fan of, what was that show he did?
Batman on Batman?
No.
The Table for Five?
No, the fucking Comic Book Men.
Oh.
Comic Book Men. So He-Man would be touched here and there on that show. And he talked about Masters of the Universe before. And he clearly said, listen, he didn't grow up with the cartoon. He's almost 10 years older than us 40 somethings, you know? And there's fans who are like, oh, he wasn't a fan. He clearly said he wasn't, but he never poo-pooed Masters of the Universe. Even when he said he didn't watch it, he never said, he didn't shit on the property.
Right.
He thought the action figures were cool. He thought the mythology was cool. It just wasn't, it passed him by, but that's not why I questioned why Kevin Smith was on board the project. My thing was, has he ever told a story like this before? It was just very interesting that somebody would go to Kevin Smith outside of, I guess, his DC work.
And none of it's like fantasy.
Yeah, so it's like, why go to Kevin Smith to tell this epic tale? Everybody else, I get, but he didn't. For me, he sort of didn't disappoint as far as coming up with the 1, 2, 3 of the arc. Where I didn't like, and I think he agrees, is he wrote the first episode.
Yes.
And it's it's a little hammy. It's a little too on the nose. And I didn't like that about it. It's like he took everything that fans love about Masters of the Universe and put it into that first episode. And that was a little too much for me. And that's why, for me, it's the weakest episode, because it's almost too winky, winky, nudgy, nudgy. We get it, and while I'm a fan of seeing those particular things in the episode, it really was like a, holy shit, this is a top 20 of everything that's awesome about Masters of the Universe in one episode. Unfortunately, also the shitty, dialogue and some of that from the kids show, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of like real punny type shit that you would have found in the 80s television show. And it's very minuscule going forward. After episode 1, the writers, it's in there, but not like Kevin did it. Not like it was so blatantly in your face in that first episode. And then 2 on is like, okay, they drop some of that, and it just hit better with me. And I know he is on board for writing other episodes from 6 to 10. I don't know which ones. So I'm hoping that, he dropped that like thing and it's more in line with the other writers. And now you don't have to do that now, and it's its own thing. So everything. And
Let me touch on that too.
I didn't hate episode 1.
Mhm.
It's a good episode.
I just was like, to me, there was a big difference from 2 and 1.
Absolutely. Let me just touch on it real quick, because this is something that I watched when I watched it again last night, and Casey and I have discussed it on occasion about the humor level and stuff like that. I watched it again and I was like, you know what? This episode it was a lot of fun. And the more I watch it, the more I think it really does well and really fits well with what it was before. And as a transition piece to what it becomes in episode 2, and this darker, more evil world without He-Man and whatnot. So for me, it worked extremely well, only because of that transition and the fact that he was able to hit it on the head so hard, so well, of that humor that it is an exact, like it comes right from the old series. And the fact that they're so like, they wanted to make the series based on it. They want to make it an extension of that. They wanted to make it feel like it exists in that world. I think without that transition, I don't think it would have worked as well, because I liked where they went.
I get it. I totally understand.
You know what I mean? But then you watch like the beginning of the one where they're fighting Merman, and then it's a flashback and the humor's there again. So
yeah,
it's like, yeah, He-Man was goofy back in the day. We all understand that. But now we're taking it the next step. So come on this ride with us. We're still gonna make it fun and stuff for you. But for me, it worked. I guess maybe I'm still caught up on that intro, because that intro just blew my nuts off.
It's a beautiful intro, and as a fan, I loved seeing all the MOTU stuff that we did not get
right
in those cartoons. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That I love that they're doing that just in general.
That was great.
They're bringing in toy characters that we didn't get to see in the original cartoon.
I had a Moss Man, was my favorite figures growing up, and he was never in the show. You know what I mean? It's like, it's great.
And I like how they incorporated him. You know, like so many people are like, no, they killed Moss Man. But I'm like, but now he is part of Eternia. You know what I mean? Like,
Avatar the Green.
I think that's cool. Swamp Thing.
Exactly.
I really, where it ends up, I really dug it. What do you think of Orco's demise? I mean, do you really think he's gone?
Well, Chris, you watched things and read things more than I have, for sure. Like, I'm assuming there's other of his race, and they exist.
The Trillions,
right? Like, does he go to like a afterlife sort of thing, like the Heat people?
You know, when I got my doctorate in MOTU, I didn't really study Trollian history or anything like that. So no, I don't know. For me, these kind of characters, they don't die, especially when magic is involved. I mean, Scareglow's not dead. They're not going to not take an opportunity to bring him back again. Orco, I mean, all he did was basically seal himself in Septernia. So I think Orco's coming back. I was all about this. Like, I was like, this is He-Man of Thrones right here. All these characters, Roboto, it was one of my favorite characters growing up. All of these guys are just getting knocked off. So I thought that was pretty epic. Like,
it was nice that
was moving.
Death.
What's that?
I said it was just nice that there was death compared to the original series, where it was like,
yes,
bop on the head, skitter away, see you next week. I was like, oh, okay.
Gravity.
Actually, consequences,
yes.
and so that sacrifices.
Yeah.
And I think that was the big thing that I loved, was that when they find Adam in Preternia, and then he makes that decision to leave, and they're like, you might not come back. And he's like, the hero. Oh, the fact that he decided to be Adam in Preternia, or
Yeah.
and be Adam and not his hero self, like they all said. I thought that was a really nice touch. But then he basically says he sacrifices heaven and goes back and gets murdered. So it's just like,
Well,
yeah, right. No, but I mean, ultimately, this is like he gets stabbed. There's blood. Like all of this stuff was such a good evolution for this show for us, for that age group. Like we said, there's a kids show coming. We can show this to our kids and whatnot. But this was made for us, and I thought, like as you said, after episode 2, we really got into the meat of it, and they told a really solid story.
I saw a really cool picture of the what is it? I know it's not the Enchantress.
Sorceress?
It's Sorceress, like behind Tila, like her like transitioning into Tila, and I was like, it was a really good drawing. I wish I could find it out. It was like a Boss Logic type of drawing. Is that our thoughts? Is that what's going to happen?
of course.
Yeah. I mean, they've set that up since the beginning. I think that was actually one of the variants of the upcoming comics from what I got to look, but maybe
it was. It was just really cool.
Yeah. I can't wait. Because we all know it's coming. We all know what the destiny was if you watch the original show. So, and again, my argument of where Tila had this, this future, had this destiny. So I'm excited to see one of my favorite characters from childhood reach that, finally.
And what about what was I gonna say? I don't know. It's interesting to see where these people are gonna end up, and I guess that's the only thing when it's like, okay, 10 episodes like that tells that story. You know what I mean? And it's a very clear story. We'll get He-Man back and Skeletor's vanquished. Maybe Evil Lynn becomes good again. You know what I mean? Or something.
Do you think? I think Evil Lynn was one of the best characters.
She was actually my favorite character. That hands down my favorite character in that series.
I think she's playing for the good guys.
I don't think so.
She's
I think
she's an opportunist.
Obviously, I think she's just Skeletor's got his. She's been Evil Lynn for so long.
I know, but I have a feeling that
she's doing it as a
once
ruse.
Back there, she's that just because it was just too quick. It was just too fast to go back. I think ultimately she will err on the side of good.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. I honestly, she's always been an opportunist and to get ahead, no matter what you've watched or read from her. And if we want to touch on these comics, whether or not, I mean, Kevin Smith did, wrote the story, doesn't matter. It's a prequel and all this stuff that's leading up to this show. So whatever they want to bleed into this, it's going to also be in that comic. So whether or not people want to accept it, I would say that Evil Lynn is always going to be somebody who's going to take that next step to try to seize power for herself. She's done it across storylines. She's done it here and there.
She becomes the next Skeletor.
She wants that power,
Ernie is just to be the next evil leader. That's what I was going to ask, though. Are we going to see Hordak? Are we going to see She-Ra? Like, are we going to see that stuff? Is that like episodes 11
and
on?
I really want to see Hordak.
Yeah, especially in this world. Yeah, I want to see a redone Hordak.
That's what I'm curious is like, because, okay, you would assume the next 5 episodes, Skeletor plunging the world into chaos and the heroes having to gather again and come together as one. Maybe the people, the old gods come down, who knows? But I would hope like we're going to see some real evil shit.
So Hordak does show up in this comic. And I'm going to go right now. I'm going to say this, the second issue I'm not really a big fan of. unless it's really, they kind of play the story as it could be true, or maybe it's not true. Is Skeletor telling us a fake story or not? But Hordak and the Horde do show up in that issue. And so, but that's all flashback too. I would love to see more. I'd love to see this universe grow. I'd love to see some characters from She-Ra, but let's maybe push that for a second, for the second season, where that's what we're begging for at the end. They can lead, they can maybe hint at it. We get this resolution with Skelegod and He-Man back in the spotlight, and the Masters are triumphant, and then the Horde. The Snake Men. We got a lot of stuff we can cover that was not covered in the original show, that was touched on in the 2000 shows. And when you get to the end of the 2000s and you're like, man, I really like, and they get into that mythology, and they keep getting deeper and deeper. And then what this show does with the mythology, it's just such a rich world, and I think that they can do a lot with it. I hope that it goes beyond 10 episodes.
I hope we at least do, Castlevania. Let's get 4 seasons. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard when they do these split ones, because they're just like testing the waters. How many seasons is She-Ra?
6 sessions, or whatever they call them, 6 segments, 6 or 7. Yeah. I mean, it's a decently length show, but it's not the same formula. So I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much, because we'll see because then I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. They're like, oh, it's not coming back. Okay, well, whatever.
You have a date for?
I haven't heard one. I
don't
know what.
December.
Are they? I'm hoping to see some stuff at PowerCon for it. So that's what I'm really excited for. I'm glad that I'm going this year in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of it. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
You want to know the one thing I didn't like about the show?
Yeah.
was Merman. I didn't like his voice. I have no problem with Kevin Conroy, but Merman needs to sound like he's underwater or gurgly or something. But it was just like this. It was just like a pirate Batman, and I was like, it's too Kevin Conroy. This is not Merman, but I liked it. But that if I'm gonna nitpick, that's my one nitpick. I love Merman.
That's Kevin Smith literally picking his all-star baseball team of voice actors and being like, let's do, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. And he got, I get it. I didn't even think about that.
See, those are the stupid things that bother me. So.
Decor is too much like Jay.
That was perfect.
Tony Todd was perfect.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was just, unless you got, what's his name? Keith, whatever.
David.
Yeah, Keith David or Tony Todd as far as evil voices go. But yeah, that was really good. That was great. So that's good. Can't wait.
And now the general audience can learn that the sword split, and start to get into some of the real mythology behind it, and hopefully then go buy that little mini comic collection, go read the stories that were meant to launch this whole universe, and get into the myths. We have a friend who had never really watched it and was like, wow, I really like this and I want to know more. So it's great. The exposure to it, everything that is old is new again, and it's from our childhood. So we are gifted.
We are blessed.
We are with the geekly gifts.
Yeah. For me, I feel like they did it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And it could have easily failed.
Yes.
But it worked for me, man. And so much so that I want more. And so much so that I,
bought every toy.
I watched it, and I watched it 3 times. It's such a easy watch.
It is, for sure.
I had to watch it in order to buy. Like, the minute I watched it, I was on the fence about the toys, whatever fence that is, the fence that's easily knocked down every time I even breathe. But but I was sold, man. It's just, that's what did it for me too. I love
I didn't want to buy any toys when I looked at them online.
Yeah.
I will say I was like, And then when you see, actually, they're really well done in person. I haven't taken them out. Have you guys taken them out? Or probably not.
I'm waiting.
What are you doing?
You know what I'm doing.
All right. So I'll take them out when I buy them because you guys
when
won't.
I will.
I know you will, but we got a little bit.
When I get when we get into the new house and I can set up my area, there will be a whole new master's area.
Yeah.
We do like a vintage cartoons commercial with the new toys.
Maybe like pulling teeth to get him to do anything.
I almost bought those little, those little guys.
Those are cool, right? With the
They're kind of cool.
Vehicles sometimes.
Yes, and they had more figures, more different characters. And I was like, but do I want to? This is the problem is like, then I'm going to spend, not even that much, like $50 and get all of them. But I was like, oh gosh, that's
me. Like being a Lego fan, like the Mega Construct ones are hard for me not to get. So sometimes I'll find them like 50% off. So I'll just be like, I want them. But it's like MOTU toys figures are across the board. They're everywhere, and the license is getting picked up. And this show is only going to hopefully push us a few steps closer to maybe. Let me ask you guys this: after this, do we need a movie? Do we need?
I want a movie.
A live
right. I want a movie too.
Cartoon movie.
Live. Well, we just got a cartoon.
I want live action.
Yeah,
I do. I would like to see them do Masters right. With the characters we love, with the vehicles and the outfits and the world, absolutely. And listen, when I was 10 years old, walking out of that movie theater, I absolutely hated Masters of the Universe, the Dolph Lundgren movie.
I absolutely loved it walking out of the theater.
I
at 6 years old.
me and my pals were like, but once I, hit my late teens, early 20s, I love the movie. So I love the 87 Dolph Lundgren Masters, but it's not He-Man.
It's not.
It really isn't He-Man. Yeah. So just for pure selfishness and wanting to see that world live action visualized, yes, I want a movie. But if it's a Netflix movie, I'm completely fine with that.
That's what I was going to ask too. Because I guess the biggest struggle we have here is Sony. Sony can't get their shit straight. I don't always trust Sony to do things correctly. So that's it. Like everything is on streaming service now. These Netflix movies are big budget movies. So why not put it on Netflix?
I think you're going to reach the most audience when it's on Netflix. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Do what they sometimes do. Release it, in a weekend, like, The Irishman and some of the Netflix movies, like give it some theaters to do it. And, we're all fans of theaters. I'm begging to go see some good shit in the theater.
Yeah.
So I would watch it on the big screen.
I certainly would too, but
I'll take it again on Netflix. If Netflix was the only way that they're going to do it, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know who would direct it. I don't know who would be in it. I don't know any of that. I don't
start over. That's what I would do.
You haven't seen a sword and sorcery movies?
When's the Thor 2?
What?
Thor 2.
No.
I kind of. I'm not saying it was a good movie. I'm just saying that sci-fi fantasy world. You know what I mean? That's what I like, fun, like stuff like that. That is kind of what I'm saying. Not what are you saying? Like,
we're getting like a Dungeons and Dragons movie. What, this year, next year?
You're saying like high fantasy.
Right? Well, not even, but just Beastmaster, like all like
right.
Seen, Conan. Like we haven't like that Conan movie with Jason Momoa. which I actually like. I know a lot of people don't like it, but like, I would like to see some. Yeah, obviously they add technology in He-Man, but
Well, listen, look at what they did with Game of Thrones. Look at what they do with The Witcher, like all that shit.
but that's long form storytelling.
Yeah,
Actually, give
but
me
I'm
that.
saying,
Give me a
like,
friggin' show.
now that that would be amazing. I don't know.
Give
if
me
they'll
a.
do
I don't
that.
need a movie. Give me a 8-episode season show.
Listen, the dude who
That would be good.
that Ted dude who freaking is running Netflix or whatever.
The head of Netflix.
It's the dude who, like, I guess runs head of
Yeah.
acquisitions
Yeah.
or whatever, or something like that. That dude loves Masters of the Universe. That dude loved the Dark Crystal. You know what I mean? Like, he's our age and he's in a top position. He can say yay or nay. You know? That's why I'm kind of leaning towards they're going to do more of this Masters of the Universe thing, because he has the say. You know, he's the one who told Kevin Smith to go make it this way, you know?
Right.
I think he has the power to just say, you know what, we're going to either make a movie or we're going to do a TV show. Like, why the fuck not, you know?
Yeah, I think what Disney Plus is doing now with these 6-episode shows like Loki, when I watch Loki, it's very cinematic. So, and it's higher budget, you're doing less episodes. So I don't think I think a 6-hour He-Man movie event versus a 2-hour movie, I would rather see that on Netflix, you know.
$150 million over a season.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. That would be more I think that would be more appealing to me, because then you can really dig in, because I feel like a movie's gonna go so fast. Swords, skeleton,
Courtney Cox, you know.
yeah.
She'll be back.
We're done. So yeah, I'd rather see a show.
Yeah,
Full
we'll
on
see.
show.
I don't know. We'll see. The future is bright.
Yes.
I think,
Yes.
for this franchise. You know?
Sure.
So,
So exciting.
All right.
so we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No, in the end, I
And we
hated
can't-
it. No, just
No.
Can't wait for December.
Bring
or
on part 2.
whenever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, at one point I had heard October, and then I saw more and more December. So, but whatever, we're getting it this year.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
the kids show comes out this year as well,
I think
I thought so.
right? I thought so too. There's no dates announced. I wonder what they'll do. I mean, PowerCon's what, under a month now, so we'll get some dates. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll make announcements there. Maybe they'll announce season 2 of Masters Revelation. Whew.
Or they'll maybe we will get dates for both of those cartoons.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more. I don't know. You're lucky. You're gonna know firsthand.
He's gonna meet Kevin Smith and give him his thoughts. He's gonna tell Kevin Conroy he's a shitty mermaid.
It was a little weird. I'll say this. I will
He's
say,
not shitty.
and this this is a nitpick, but it didn't like destroy anything for me. I just wish Mark Hamill would find a different evil voice. His evil voice is the same evil voice over and over and over again. Like, I don't understand why he couldn't have done a variation of old Skeletor with his own flair.
Mhm.
You know, but no, he literally did the same evil voice that he does for every evil character. And that was the only, like, man, like, come on, dude. You're a voice actor.
You know what? Well, you watched Chucky, right? You know what I mean?
I watched it. I fucking hated it.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't think he did a bad voice,
I
actually.
went in wanting to hate it, and I liked it for what it was, and I thought his voice was
Like, obviously,
decent.
it's Brad Dourif all day, every day for that character, and I like I want my normal Chucky, but just saying, in general, I thought he, at least referring to his voice, I thought he did a good job changing his voice enough.
Well, what I'm saying is,
he has the ability.
Yes,
I agree with you. He has the ability to do that.
it's like he seems to fall back on the same evil
Joker.
voice. And again, it didn't ruin it for me.
It didn't bother me, but I could see why it's a nitpick.
But I was just like, man, you're better than this. Like, come on, go up there a few octaves. Like get a little more. Yeah, They did it in the 2000 show in the 2002.
I was going to bring that up because at first I was always kind of like, oh, this Skeletor is different. It's a little bit different, but then it grows on you. It is very well done in attuned to the old show, but that Skeletor, he scares me actually, opposed to the old one. Mark Hamill's Skeletor was great. I do agree with you on the voice thing, though. I'm always like, maybe they're just go be Mark. Like, let them know it's you. I don't know. I agree. I needed some Miaz and real Skeletor stuff,
right,
but
I'm not going to tell this guy to do anything. Just do it.
right.
He's probably Kevin Smith. You know him and Mark. He's probably just off in a corner, like crying and just being like, I can't believe I got Mark Hamill to do another thing for me.
Right. Cock knocker. Oh, God.
That's probably his thought on it.
Yeah. I just wanted a little meow.
Yeah, I just want a little gurgling merman. Come on.
If they wanted it consistent, but again, it didn't. I still thought he was dope. I liked that there was actual fighting in this show.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah.
As opposed
Skeletor
to-
actually did cool things. Yeah.
I'll get you.
Everyone did cool. I mean, really, even Beastman.
Seeing more magic was great, like real magic.
Yes. Yeah. Man
Like,
arm, great.
We see that punch through the portal thing in the preview, but it is awesome to see like how huge his arm, like his fist is, and then He-Man just stop it with his small fist. It's just when you watch it in the old days, and we make fun of that Skeletor a lot. It's so goofy and it's so non-threatening and stuff like that. So to see it finally with blood and real action, it's just
Skeletor. I mean, they
for
made
us.
in this. They made in the 2002 one as well, but they made Skeletor badass.
Yes.
And
What you want.
in the original
It's the
show,
whole
he
point.
just is not. Like it always befuddled me that people were like kids were genuinely afraid of Skeletor. It's like, get out of town.
What does he actually do?
Yeah, you bumbling boob. I mean, he doesn't. He's an idiot. They're all idiots. You know what I mean?
The rest of them are idiots because they're scared of him when they could really just destroy him easily. They're all warlords in their own right. So.
Hordak was always my guy. Over Skeletor.
He's scary. I'll tell you, in the 2000 shows, there's episodes that I'll still get nervous at sometimes because it's very threatening sometimes. For even this is a kids show. Like they did other armor to sell toys and things like that. They infused a lot of the old antics into this, but when you watch it, the storytelling it's like this in a lot of the episodes.
Oh yeah, I love that.
We'll have to rewatch
Yeah.
that and do an episode on that.
2002 show. The
Like,
2000.
It's got some gravity. It's got some situational stuff that's just.
Yeah, when
I wish that show would have continued. Honestly,
when I rewatched it when it came out on DVD, my current wife actually got into that version. Like she was like, "This is pretty good,"
Did she watch this one?
She didn't. Well, she watched the first two episodes when I did my second rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see my wife actually.
I don't know.
liking
I don't
this
know
one.
what she thought. I mean, she definitely wasn't like laughing like she was at the original.
Yeah.
why am I watching this?
I think when it's all done, I could probably get her to sit down and do the whole thing. So I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, again, she doesn't have to. He-Man's not a. She doesn't give a crap about He-Man.
Is that a marriage contract thing? Okay, I got you.
No, Star Wars.
That's right.
So, but yeah, great.
It's good.
We have the power. That's right.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guys. So let us know your thoughts. Again, it's okay.
Say whatever you want. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, other than like, don't be mean to anybody in the comments.
Just because
you didn't like it.
yeah, if you didn't like it, you don't have to name call people. You don't have to. I mean, come on, what the fuck? Like
Civil conversations, please.
Right.
That's it.
and, and if you loved it, great. What'd you love about it? Are you collecting the toys? Will you be getting all of the new merch that's coming out? Which seems to be coming at a good click,
Yeah. It's not bad.
Let us know. Crept from Eternia, guys. We'll, as you guys know or may not know, I am in the middle of moving, packing, processing. So
Gesticulating.
I don't know how many new things will be popping up on the channel, but I guess you'll know if new things pop up on the channel. I'm just saying.
Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
You'll see when something new pops
Please,
up.
the little bell.
And then after Chris
let you know.
moves, more episodes will
Yep.
be more consistent with things happening.
Yes. Yes. And hopefully we can get back on track with this show. And, certainly shit. We're going to have to do something when you get back from PowerCon.
Live from PowerCon.
You gotta give us your thoughts and show off your swag.
Take video. When you're there, you could put it into the show.
Oh yeah. I'll definitely take some video, plenty of pictures.
Give us the inside scoop.
I will. It'll be a great episode next month. We'll have some fun.
That's what we'll do. We'll do like the PowerCon episode.
Yeah.
And you can make us jealous and divulge all the secrets of
Show my exclusives.
That's right.
Lord knows how much money you're gonna drop.
The good thing about those exclusives was you could pre-buy them. So I've already paid for the ones I wanted or wanted to afford, I should say.
Artwork. You're gonna see some shit that you're gonna buy.
Yeah, exactly.
On the website.
That's what I'm there for. I'm a huge fan of artist alleys. When we would go to Comic-Con and stuff like that, and I love getting that stuff because it's FaceTime with the artist. It's prints of stuff you'll never see. So, and this is going to be all masters, which you don't see a lot at a lot of cons.
Chunky artwork, some Alex Ross type artwork that people do.
Real perverted stuff.
You probably will find that.
So send me your requests.
Yeah. No Tila.
No women.
What?
I want the men of He-Man. Not masters, just men.
And if they are women,
Men
they
of the
better not
universe.
have muscles.